Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Sorry, just now the class, I realized the link previously, the one that we used has already expired. So I don't know where everybody went. So I decided I create a new link and then the class monitor wasn't really looking at her message, you see. So I had to like start to look for her and then she managed to get everybody in. Okay. It's okay. We shall get started, okay, because it's already like 12:20 already, like 12:19 already, okay. So you all can hear me, no problem, fine, okay, yeah, right. Bluetooth mode connected. Okay, come. All right. So last Friday we went on to talk about construction, the construction industry and what are the latest development in the construction industry. And also we mentioned about, as an engineer, it's going to be a very major part of your um let me share my screen first. It's going to be like a major part of your work, okay, to make our project, your design into a realization, into a real thing, you see. So no matter what we say, what we talk about, in all sorts of different time planning, cost planning, project life cycle, design, all of this, it means nothing, unless you're going to build the end of the day. At the end of the day, so once the things are being constructed, the product is being constructed, or the facilities being constructed, the infrastructures are being constructed, the buildings are being constructed, then you really see that realization of your idea, concept, needs turn into a reality to be working for your client or for the end user. So I think this is where we engineers get our utmost satisfaction from. So in fact, construction industry, I've also mentioned to you that it is a very tough industry. It's first and foremost, it's hot and it's very dirty, and then it's not really for everybody in that sense. You're not gonna like enjoy, be under the sun, running around. I mean, I know some people do, but majority of us don't. You see, so it's going to be tough. It's a tough industry. There's a lot of people, a lot of money, a lot of resources that you need to handle, and people that you need to manage and work with and communicate with and all that. So it is very tough. So construction management is also a part of our topic, because we want to let you know practically. In fact, we talk maybe 80% of the time, or 70% of the time, on planning, you see, on what tools you use, and how do you plan and all that kind of stuff. But in fact, in real life, it's the ballet. In fact, 70% or 60 to 70% of all your effort and all your money and all your activities are in the construction bit of things. um, I mean, in the construction phases. So it is very important to learn about construction phases. And construction phases, like I said, it will usually flow through from procurement. like from procurement, from, requisition cycle, requirement cycle, requisition cycle, solicitation cycles, award cycle, and after the award cycle, we move into the actual activities construction. In fact, if we were to put it, it's like this is going to be all action, minimum talk, but all action, whereby in the earlier stages of the project, it is all talk but no action kind of thing, like less action. So in fact, when there's a lot of action, I think there's many things that we will need to learn. The main thing here is the execution. So if you look at your management control cycle, this is the execution part of things, and the execution you usually follow through with monitoring, and then controlling, and then rectification. So these are the next half, in a way, next half, more than next half of the uh management control cycle. And it's a more than, this is one of the major phase of the whole project life cycle, actually, because you are really getting your money to work, you are getting your people to work, your machine to work, everybody is working, everything is working towards the realization of the project. So and that is like so critical in that sense. Without this phase, basically everything is on paper, all the ideas are on paper, on the computer, but nothing is going on, actually. Yeah. So in this phase, we are actually splitting ourselves into like two class, in a sense. First class, we talk about what to control. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important bit that you need to understand. You need to know what to control. Like I've mentioned, we talk about correspondence, we talk about meetings, we talk about um, uh, uh, um, schedules, we talk about S-curve, we talk about PQP, we talk about work method statement, we talk about project coordination, we talk about people controlling people, machineries, and then inventory, we talk about controlling material and the inventory bit of things. We talk about how to store your machine, and then control your machine, in the sense, not to say control your machines, but you need to keep record of what machines you're using, and are they updated for maintenance, or do they need to go to get licensings, a lot of things, requirement and repair, how much is the repair, and then like when to send for the maintenance, scheduled maintenance, and when to make the repair work, and all that kind of stuff. So you see, there's many things, so material, we'll talk about inventory control, we talk about, ordering of material, procurement of material, to be sent to site, logistic, transportations. So there's the first, yes, on Friday, the main gist of things is what to control. So if you do get a questions in the exams, like, in construction phase, what are the, can you describe 3 or 5 major areas that you need to do controlling? Then these are the things that you need to talk about. You need to talk about controlling correspondence, controlling communication, controlling human resources, labor, and then you need to talk about controlling um, the inventory, material and inventory. You need to talk about yeah, I mean, talk about, there's just many things. Time costs, like time is like S curve. I mean, sorry, schedules, Gantt chart, S curve. How? I mean, like, what do you do? What you need to describe. When there's a word of describe, you need to describe. You cannot just name it. Name it and listing, and name it and listing is different from describing. Okay. So I think that's how you should answer the questions. If there is something on what do you need to control on a construction site, what is it that you need to control when there's construction management look at to control what things, what areas, then these are the answers that you can give. You see, so I hope that you can go through your notes very carefully and pick up, do your own notes as well, because I think it's always good, for young engineers, like becoming young engineers like you all, to actually do your own notes as well. So once you learn from me, I mean, like, my notes is my understanding, is my way of like telling you things, but then you need to understand to adapt to what my way of understanding things. So you probably can't fully adapt to what I what my brand is about, is like. So you need to take the notes, and do your own notes, you see. And this is your own digestion. This is how you can score well in project management normally, okay? And this is, yeah, like this is one of the tips that I'm giving you. Like you need to do your own notes. Like let's say areas, you need to pinpoint out the areas on what to manage and how to manage. What to manage and what areas to control and all that. So in fact, during the execution phase, the construction phase, the main thing is you need to know what to control. And what means usually the execution phase is already done. It's already you're in the execution phase, so you need to know what to monitor first, and then after that, what to control. Okay, so this is about what. Okay, then today, well, we're just gonna give you like how. How do you do the controlling? You see, all right, like how. So main thing about controls, construction management, okay, how to control. Normally, the very, very basic tools that we actually have is what we call a site daily record or report record lah, normally. And obviously, what I'm telling you now is just a foundation, and you can build out on that foundation with digitalization. A lot of reporting nowadays are done through digitalization. In the old days, maybe like say 10, 20 years back, we are really looking at pencil, paper, pen, rulers, to do our reporting. Of course, we have Excel, and we've also got like Words, that is already like very digital. So when everything is being organized, and things, execution is ongoing, construction work started already, everything is, proceeding. So your job is to monitor. The main job, whether you're going to be the SO, superintending officers, project engineer, project manager, young site engineers, or you are the clerk of works, so all of these, or project coordinator. So all of this requires you, yeah, especially young engineers, to do monitoring, because you are not up to making decision yet at this point in time. Okay, your main job is to do control, monitoring, and most of the time you'll be running on site gathering data. And this data has to be completely gathered for your upper management, like your project manager, to make that decision. And if you are going to be one day becoming a project manager, you'll be looking at all this data to make decision, do rectification, do control, do improvement, do problem solving with data. We as engineers, we have to make decision with data. We are not going to be making decision based on what you like, what you don't like, who you hate and who you love, and all this kind of stuff. Be professional. Everything is data based. What is good for the project? In the end, what is good for the end user? What is good for your client? You see. So site daily record is something that we would normally recommend your monitoring team to do. With, I think, in the old days, I will show you what we do in the old days. And I'm pretty sure some of you will still see this, but not much anymore. Um, is this thing, the site daily record. And of course, this is one of the format lah. You can have a lot of different formats. So it means that the day the project starts, okay, you will have a book, you will have a log book. It's exactly like what you're doing for IDP logbook and your FYP logbook. So you can design your own logbook, okay? So of course the logbook must have a date, you must have working time. Is it a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that kind of thing. You can also put in what is the material being delivered on site today, what's the weather like today, from what time to what time is it raining, and how much rain was collected, and that's when we sometimes put what we call a rain gauge in the site. Or you can look for DID, you can know where's the nearest station to your site, and then you can compile the data from the rainfall. But should you not have the rainfall station around, you need to have a rain gauge. Rain gauge is like a little container, so it will collect the rain, and then you need to read off, like that day finish, you need to read off the how many millimeter of rain was collected. So that will show how heavy the rain is, you see, in an hour or in a few hours and all that kind of stuff. So it can be a long, long, long rain. It can be like a raining for a whole day, but very, very light rain. It can be like very strong rain for 1 hour or for half an hour. So you need to read, you need to know the data. With weather condition, you need to both have the time and the quantity. That is very important. If you talk about high tide, tides, flood and all that, also time, how long it is, how long does it last, and how bad was it is through the quantity. And usually all this will be basing it on that your whether you're going to get extension of time contractually. All this data is very important, okay, for you to make decision on whether you're going to award somebody with extension of time, or you're going to pay people more for variation order or repair work and all that sort of stuff. So it has very important implication, because when I go to contract with you in construction, contract basically says to you that inclement weather can be, inclement means extraordinary bad weather. So you must have proof for extraordinary bad weather. It cannot be like you stand here today and say, oh yeah, it's raining, and that's it. And then yeah, but if it's not inclement, when it's not substantially terrible weather, you cannot claim. So they say that force majeure can claim. Force majeure means acts of God. Uh, and then acts of God is very different from a human related kind of thing as well. You see, so like for example, flooding is act of God. Like, but if it's a war, a strike, that is act of human. You see, so force majeure and act of God is actually slightly different from one another. Okay, so I will explain that a little bit more this Friday when I see you physically in ITP room. So the next Monday is again, like I said, we have class. Okay, so um, overall, these are some of the components that you'll be looking at, mm, inputting daily, okay, not once a week, not missing daily and then like try to come back again 1 week later and try to recall what happened. You see, don't do that. It is very, very, very terrible. I mean, like all this record has implication if you're going for dispute later. If there's a dispute, if there's a conflict, if there's a legal matters on hand, all this is gonna be, it's gonna be in the picture. Like this is gonna be your data, this is gonna be your evidences. So you must keep good site daily record. And obviously, like okay, then you can put in things like activities on site, like okay, today block A has poor concrete, for example, how many trucks has arrived, and test cube was done, how many test cube labeled as what. So you actually like writing a logbook, okay, so you can do that, okay. And then we can also have like things like any visitors on site, and anything extraordinary happen, maybe there's an accident, maybe somebody knocked down some very important chemical, or somebody then you also did some pollution control, by spraying the water on the dust, and you also pass on the silt trap, all these things are additional things, like others that you can put in. And normally this sort of report is prepared by contractors, engineers. So you will keep a daily record. And of course, consultant, you need to do your own. If you are a superintending officers or the kind of work from the designer side, you would also need to keep a record, because if you want to do it the lazy way, of course, you both can do the same report, meaning that both of you will, at the end of the day, like at 5 o'clock every day, both of you will sit down and go through whatever each other are in recording, and then you combine it into one report, and then at the end of the day, both of you can actually use that one report to do your month end uh, reporting. Okay, month end performance reporting. So this one is a daily one. Okay, and of course, like I said, with technology so easily available, I do not see a problem if you have this in a Google form. I mean, like you can create Google form, okay, or you can use even Beam scheduling, and you can use other technology as well, I think, and control. And then there are a lot of different system available as well. Some of them can actually do like camera, that you can actually like capture the picture on site every day kind of thing, and then they will convert it to like progress for you. There are some programs that I've seen something like that, you can even use like VR kind of thing as well. I mean, like it's a bit scary, but yeah, but maybe not so rampantly used at the moment, but it will maybe be, up and coming very soon for site monitoring. But like I said, closest to us all is something like a Google form. So if you create a Google form, it's easy to compile the data at the end of the day, because Google form will be sent to the email that you set, correct or not? And then later on from the form itself, if you set the form correctly, you can actually use words or Excel to compile the form, and there will be some historical like statistic that can actually be created from the form itself. And I think that is really wonderful. I mean, it saves you so much of problem at the end of the day, because um normally what we need to do is at the end of, let's say, we keep 1st of January, so we do today no work on site, no, it's 1st of January. Second, then we have people are coming back, and then you've got the machine, how many working where and all that kind of thing. So then you go on and on until about 19 or 18 of the month, or 20th of the month. Okay, so yeah, so what we as engineers need to do, especially if you're working on site engineers with your project coordinator or one of your junior engineer, or the junior engineer, they will need to sit down and read through all the pages, one by one, one by one, one by one, honestly. And then they will need to pick up all the data and make it into a report, because normally contractor need to submit the report around 20th, 21st, something like that, 21st, 22nd. And then that will submit the month end performance reporting. We call it a monthly report, monthly set report to the consultant and the client. And the consultant will take from their own record, which they will usually have to finish compiling from their own record as well, plus your reporting. And they will do their own reporting and attach your report together to the client by maybe 26, 28 will be the latest. And then you will start to have, plan for your next monthly meeting around 30th, or, maybe first and second of the month. Okay. So this is how we normally practice. So you see, when you need to sit down and compile this, you really need a lot of attention, this is a paperwork. And site engineer, as usual, you are already on site recording, monitoring, and checking problem solvings and all that. So to sit down, to find the time and sit down, normally will be a Saturday, and then you need to do that on a Saturday. So to go through 20 over days of report, if it's a lot of things, it's actually quite a lot of work. So I think Google Form will be very good. You can actually think about that, and of course, you need to also take pictures. Gambar. And Gambar nowadays is a lot easier, because Gambar nowadays you can use WhatsApp, you can actually send the photos to yourself, or put it on cloud, and but you need to label the photos properly. Otherwise, by the end of the month, you forgot what this photo is all about and which day you've taken them, and then you need to look back at all the dates of the photos and all that. I mean, like, it's really difficult. You have a lot of things to do. And these are things that you really want to find a way to save yourself from all the hassle in that sense, and don't want to um, don't want to like put too much of time into it. So I think, let's say if you have something like Google Form, you can actually click on the Excel, export it into Excel, and then it will do you the numbers, and all these things, the statistics and all this sort of stuff. So I think that one will really help a lot, especially if you have questions that is dealing with yes or no, what choice, how many, numbers and all that. I think that would really be helpful. So try to explore the idea of using Google Form, to create um to create your own site daily record, and then see how to do the compilation at the end of the day. It'll be very interesting assignment to do maybe in the future, because I'm getting really bored with my own assignments as well. Yeah, I think this will be something very useful, especially for Constack, and also maybe even for project management. So yeah, so you need to compile the things, okay? You need to compile it properly. And right, so this is the tool, the major tool that we use, okay? And if there's any issues, if there's any instructions, anything extraordinary, you need to record as well. So yeah, so this is the part that I've mentioned to you, that you are doing a lot of tracking, basically, a lot of on-site monitoring using what we call the site daily record, and this is what you put in the site daily record. And then how do you use a site daily record? Like I said, you have to compile it at the end of the day for a monthly progress report. And this monthly progress report will determine whether you are going to get an extension of time, whether there's any variation that needs to be paid and settled. There's a lot of implication from site daily record. I have to tell you, it is something very simple. It is something very easy. It's not rocket science. You don't have to have difficult mathematics. Any one of you can go to site and do your site daily record. It doesn't have to, even a form 5, somebody who knows language, can write, they have eyes to see, they can do site daily record. But how well you do it has a big implication. A lot of contractual issues, evidences that needs to be dig up later. It will be based from a site daily record. Okay, so if your site daily record don't have it, there will be no evidence. You see, and you may have already forgotten what happened. But looking back at the site daily record, you know exactly what happened between contractor A with contractor subcon A with subcon B. If there's any dispute, any resolution that is needed, site daily record is the evidence. And like I said, the weather, and any things extraordinary happening, all these things. Why I keep on saying this? Because all these things will determine if there's a delay later. Okay, this could be what some of the reason that you can get your extension of time. You see, but if you do not record it, there's no evidence, there's no data to it, you can't claim. You see, you can't claim. And there are many times whereby, consultant can give you, or can you redo this, or can you add on this part? They will call for variation of work. And if you don't record it properly at all, okay, then you buta, you go and do, that means it's his word against your word. Later on, you want to claim money, you want to claim a new manhole, or you want to claim a new, the design was different, and it was changed, and it incur cost, and you want to claim for more cost, and they will look at you say, "Hey, I never say that, got say me? Where?" You see? I mean, like, you need evidences, and these are the evidence. So whenever the variation, I mean, whenever there's a change order, okay, by the client or by the consultant, it needs to be recorded. The first step is to record it in the site daily record. Then they need to follow up with letters, with proper variation form and all the sort of things. That one comes later, but that one can come like 1 week later, 1 month later. But meantime, you are already doing the work based on their instructions on site. So whatever instructions has been given to you on site has to be recorded. Okay? I mean, like, you cannot say that, oh, I want to go and add it on later on when I need it. You can't, you see. So because this site daily record, month by month, in fact day by day, it has to be verified by the both party, the two party. Okay? So if there's any instructions, is already recorded in the site daily record. In fact, it's even better, if you have like minutes of the meetings, and of course backup with minutes of the meeting. And then in fact, if you have some recording on what is being said, is even better, you see. So there's no way of escaping, no way of people telling you that, no, I didn't say this, this, you do it at your own free will, and I'm not going to pay you for it. It's like, and then some issues on site, problem solving on site, if it's not being recorded, if it incurs delay or additional cost, you have problem claiming it again, you see. And then if you're being given non-compliance report, I mean non-compliance not notification, that some of the work is not properly done, it has to be recorded as well. And like I said, it's a very simple thing, and it's so simple that people just don't do them. And it's so simple that it has a lot of big implication later. These people just don't see it. It's how important site daily reporting is it, or record is. Okay. And of course, at the end of the month, like I said, you have to convert your site daily record into your monthly progress report. And monthly progress report is one of the most major reporting to the client. This one here is your record and the the consultant's record. Um, but the monthly progress report is the one that will be given to the client later to assess your progress. And that will means what? Claims, money. You know, can you claim up to a certain percentage of the money? The verification of the claim is going to be based on your monthly progress report, which comes from your site daily records. You see? So it is like a domino effect. And monthly progress report, inside there, you will write about the progress, which stage, how many percent has been completed, and both of the two sides must agree on how you calculate the percentage. And that's where, in fact, the S curve that you've already submitted is very important. Okay, so in your set daily record, first of all, you will submit the current status of all the buildings of the work, you know, or all the drains or whatever, which chainage are you up to, you know, and then what are the details, you know, then details as in, yes, you said that I've completed 50%. What do you mean by 50%? 50% is the calculation. You cannot simply write like percentage just like that. It must be a proper calculation basis, you know, that you've already shown in your physical S curve, for example, because physical S curve, you need to say, you need to give weightage to every part of your work, and then from every part of your work later on, you need to distribute over the schedule, so then when your physical S curve is done, the actual combining of the work progress will be looking at, you know, the actual numbers that you've given there. Let's say, you know, your total is 60, I mean, your total is six buildings, you know, or you can use per meter cube, or you can use per ton of steels, for example. Usually it's per the volume, the volume of the building, you know, the length of the pipeline, the numbers of manholes, you know. So this will form, you know, this will form your percentage of work, and then this will also form your weightage as well. You see, money and work complexities can form the weightage, yeah, but then the percentage is usually have formed by some quantification. Like I said, total, you've got how much, so you completed how much. You see, that will be the calculation of the percentage. But of course, when you calculate the percentage also, you need to see whether some jobs that are a little bit heavy on the closing end, for example, testing, for example, overall system testing. So that one, you must have some percentage of, you cannot put like the work is 100% complete, you know, like there's no 100% until the very final system testing. So you may split system testing out from your activity, and then keep a system testing separate item on your work breakdown structure. Okay, so from the percentage, you will decide, you know, okay, this month, how much have been completed. Let's say you've got like one 10,000 meter cube of concrete volume total. Okay, month is supposed to be done over 6 months. Okay, or maybe, okay, let's say 12,000 ton, 12,000 meter cube over 6 months. One month, you're looking at about completing about 2,000 meter cube. So then you look at your month one, your progress. So from your site daily record, you've seen that how much concrete has been ordered, you know, and then how much pouring has been done. So then you can determine that you've done like what 1,800 1,800 meter cube, that is about um out of 12,000, that is how much percentage. So meaning that there is a bit of delay in your progress for the pouring of concrete already. Okay, so that, like I said, is actually from your site daily record. Okay, so from flowing from there, this is how you do your monthly progress report. You see, so your monthly progress report will actually summarize everything. Okay, summarize everything, and then you would look at also the S curve, like what at this month already January. So the dot that you need to put on the S curve, on the physical and the financial S curve. Then financial one, you also put a dot on it to say that you've collected how much money this month. Okay, then the work progress is like you go back to your weightage again, and you do the calculation again, and then like just like how you do with the original S curve. Now it's like it's month by month. Okay, month by month you need to check, what are the percentage, and then you compare the percentage up, and this is the final dot that you need to put on your S curve, the physical S curve. Understand now? Okay, because you may have a lot of activity going on at the same time, so then the numbers have to be added up vertically again. Okay, but this time it's based on real records, real percentage, not the estimated percentage. The first one is estimated of the work uh, schedule, that is your original S curve, which is your PV, and then your earn value will be the will be the actual work that you've conducted, the actual value that you've earned, the actual value that you've earned based on the actual progress. Okay, so then you add it up that way. So if you still kind of understand what I'm trying to say here, maybe I can kind of like show you again on this Friday when I see you physically in class. So that one is part of the S curve. So there, of course, you need to put inside any photos as well, some photos of the progress, and then you need to stay on the issues on site, the constraints, it's like these are part of monthly progress report. Okay, so to do a monthly progress report, it has to normally come from your site daily record, and the items in your monthly progress report are like the progress itself, the S curve, through the progress through photos, writing, reporting, through S curves, and also issues on site. Okay, and the overall completions. And then usually the client may also want to see what we call manpower return list, and also all the return list. What is the return list? So you will have something like this. Okay, you can actually do your labels, we call it manpower return list. So in a way, you are looking at doing a schedule like this for the client. What you can do is based on the monthly progress report, you're saying that, okay, you've got 6 people, like in your site monthly progress report, you've got, okay, construction of column, I've got like 6 people working on it. So then you put in here week 1, day 1, day 2, day 3, and then total working hours is how much, and if is there any idling time, etc., etc. So you do a labor schedule, you also do a machinery schedules as well. So this is like from your schedule, from the site daily record, you can actually convert that into a daily kind of record. And some client ask for it, some client don't. You see, some client will ask for summary. So what they will ask for will be manpower return list. Like they will say manpower return list and machinery power return list. They will ask you to summarize in your progress report as well. Not like this, maybe this is maybe for your own record, but then they will put in 1st of January, you've got how many crane working, how many machine, how many lorry working, how many Kobelco working, how many rebar cutting machine working. So day one, 1st of January, 2nd of January, 3rd of January, 4th of January, 7th of January, 7th of January is let's say is a Sunday, no work, idling time. So that way he can see how much people you've put on site. As a young engineer, actually I've been also asked to do a lot of this sort of work as well. some, like I said, some company, they're very particular about this way of monitoring, because they want to see that you're putting enough of people into the job. So they may ask for something like this, okay, but then, like I say, some company may just ask you, I mean, some client may just ask you for a summary schedule, so that you have a date on one side, and then you've got the item on one side, and then whether how many is working. So there's going to be like a whole list, like a whole table of numbers with the items working or the people working. But some clients, they're very particular about if you are having enough of people in certain work. For example, you can say that I've got this many people working this month, but then they may say that you're not putting people in the right place because the progress is a bit slow. So they may ask you for, like, what I did here, column, exactly how many people is working on the column and who are they, you see. And then they will determine, then your client will talk to you, in the site progress meeting, when you show all these things, they will be able to see whether they feel like you've got enough of workers working on it, you've got enough of resources working on it. And on the other hand, the other side of the coin, it's the same as well. If I'm a contractor, I keep all these record. If my client accuse me of not having enough of machine and people working on site, I have all the record to show him that I have all these people working on site. I've got all this machinery working on site. I've got data of these people working on level 3. I've got people working on the drain. I've got people working in enough to pasang the RC drain, for example. All these things are in record, you see. So try to keep both lah, in that sense lah. These are what we call return list lah, basically. And of course, you've got like material list as well. So these are, like how when you do your work breakdown structure, when you put in your resources, you've got a resources material list, you've got your your manpower list, you've got your machinery list. At this stage, at the end of every month, you're essentially going backwards, and trying to do a return list, you see. So your resources planning is your planning. This is your return list, meaning that this is the actual. Okay, so to do you from the material list, you can see whether it tallies also with the invoices as well. So from, let's say, are you pouring concrete? Are you estimated quantity? How much have you poured? And these are also one way of checking your progress as well, because the material used up will be a good indication, or the quantity used or the quantity executed can actually be the progress that you are looking at. Like some people will ask me, I mean, like beginning of the semester, somebody asked me, actually a few person asked me, including younger engineers who are actually practicing at the beginning of the semester. So how do we know that the progress that the contractor put in is actually correct? You see, it's actually right. It's actually telling. I mean, like, there is no such thing as 52 is correct and 53 is not correct. You see, with progress on site, it is about, we both have the consensus method of calculation on the progress, and then from there, whatever they submit, you have to check. Okay, you have to check. So when you check that their progress is more or less, then usually it cannot be so accurate in that sense, because when the report gets to you already, it could be a bit more already. So when you go down to the site, it may be a bit more. So if sometimes they may over declare a little bit because of the calculation, then your calculation will be maybe slightly off, like cut it down by one or two or few, less than 10. So actually it's very normal. So you're not going to be worried about that 1 meter cube or 2 meter cube, unless the whole thing is only 1 meter cube and 2 meter cube. But then normally the whole building itself, you've got like, 1,000 tons of, 1,000 meter cube of concrete, like few hundred tons of steel bars and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, if there's a variation of one or two, up and down, it's not a big matter, so you only need to check and see whether whatever they declare is really up to par or not. Don't later on they have done like 10%, and then they declare 50%. That obviously is not 50%, it's not half of the work done. So this is the time that we have to correct the contractor. That is why the report of the monthly progress report of the contractor will need to go to the consultant. or the engineers from the client side who is in charge of the project, or we call them the project manager, before the actual reporting is done to the client themselves, because it is not logical if you don't filter it, you cannot not filter it. So it is your job to filter it. So you can ask for the calculation method. How did you arrive at 52, for example? So if they can arrive at such accuracy of 52, they must have a way of calculating it. You can ask for the method of calculation. Okay. But of course, like I said, this have to be really trashed out in the first meeting, first monthly meeting, the first kick-off meeting that you sign a contract. There will be a first meeting or site handing over. And this is a time that you need to talk about correspondence, like how to do the progress reporting, and then what are the calculation that you prefer for the progress calculation and all that kind of stuff, the PQP, the quality reporting and all that. So it's always the first time, like how do you want a contractor to make the payment claim, according to what format. These really have to be trashed out in a kickstart meeting. Then everything will be flowing accordingly. Again, all these things that I'm showing you is project by project basis. So some company, they may have certain systems, some project manager, they may have certain systems. They prefer you to use their system. Then you have to adjust accordingly. But the foundation, the background is all the same. You need to compile your materials return schedules, manpower return list, you need to compile your machinery return list into a full table on quantity of how much is used daily, and then what is used daily, what is being delivered daily. Okay, and all of this have another downstream implication is cost, because your material deliver, okay, all the invoices will go to the account section of your company. Okay, and the account lady or the gentleman, your CFO, they're not working on site. They need your verification. So when they see that they receive like 30 bills of concrete, all 5 meter cube, and times it together is about 1,500 5 meter cube times by 30 bills is about 150 meter cube, and 1 meter cube is about 300 ringgit. You're talking about 150 times by 300. There's a lot of money to pay. So they will usually send this invoice to you for verification. Okay, and then how do you determine how much they was sent? This is where you look at your material schedule, because you receive how many material on January, first day, second day, third day, how much truck came in, how much was discharged, disloaded, how much was wasted. You have it in your material schedule because you have it in your site daily record. So your site daily record will be compiled into this. And like I said, you are forced to compile this because most clients will look at your material schedule. They will look at your manpower return list. They will look at your material return list. The machinery return list. Not by activities maybe, but at least there will be an overall monthly return list. This is something that you have to learn to prepare. Okay, and that's where, like I said, they will decide on the progress, and your company will decide on the payment. Okay, like, are we going to really pay? Is the quantity tailing? You see? And with the workers as well, it's also about money. Your CFO and his team will need to pay salary at the end of the month. If it's not a fixed salary, if it's a daily wages rate, you need to have a confirmation on whether like how many people are working, whether it tallies with the final amount of salary that is being paid at the end of the month. You see? If not, then you're rugi lah. Like this definitely will rugi, a big rugi, no control on site. Okay, so usually the accounting side or the finance side, they will look at a few ways of verification. Number one, all the invoices will be verified. Number two, all the worker card will be verified. Then usually there'll be a verification first before going to the accountant side. And then that verification usually will means that when the invoice come, when the concrete came, there is somebody on site to sign and chop, you see. So that one is sent, they will take it back and they will send it to your account section, and the account section needs to prepare payment for your suppliers, for your subcontractors, and your subcontractor will come and get money from you every month, without fail. There will be claim from subcontractors. So how do you know that what they claim is logical, reasonable, and not being overpaid? You see, you don't want to underpay people, but you cannot overpay people at all. I mean, like, underpaid by a little bit, like maybe even like 5 or 10%, that is fine. It's no big deal because work is still ongoing on site. It's not the final closing account yet. But if you overpay, the consequences can be very serious, because when you overpay the supplier, your procurement section will be in trouble, because your finance section will be also in trouble, because they chop and sign, they actually issue the payment. Then who is going to get the money back? It's not, this is, they may send you the wrong invoice from another side, and then you're paying off from your own project account. That is ridiculous, you see. So all this checking usually will have to be verified. So there will be a double verification from the CFO side. They will do the compilation of how much to pay and all that. They will need the site people to verify, to double check again for a second time before they release the payment. Okay, so these are how you double check. Otherwise, what you're going to do, recall from a memory. Oh yeah, that day come 3 meter cube, or the other day come 6 meter cube, or the other day come like this. No, you can't. Has to be based on your scheduling. These are all your material schedules and your manpower return list and all your return lists. It will determine the payment that you'll be making to the suppliers, subcontractors, and your labor, machinery people as well. Okay. And again, like I say, main thing is, of course, showing the client the progress as well. And the progress will actually be translated into contractual impacts. And contractual impacts will also be translated into payment terms, payment from your client as well. So if your work is up to certain progress, you can claim your next claim, make a payment claim, and that payment claim will have to be based on your progress, okay, completely based on the progress of work. So your monthly progress report to the client will indicate how much money that you're planning to claim next month, okay, and how much money that you'll be paying to all the suppliers and subcontractors and labor and machinery and all that. Okay, again, this is summarized in a monthly progress report, but monthly progress report has to come from your site daily record. Understand? Okay, so this is the flow. So one is equally important than the other one. This is how we use all our different reports actually in that sense. Right? Rainfall records. Like I said, these are just formats about, this is just formats, a lot of like different formats to do the you don't have to follow this exactly, you can create your own, and I believe some of you are a lot better than me in creating all these things. I totally believe it, but then but yeah, I mean, I totally believe it. So I don't feel like this is a mandatory thing, but then like I said, the mandatory things are essentially, you need to keep that site daily record. From the site daily record, you need to do some summary, or we call it return list. From the return list, you convert that into monthly progress report. From the monthly progress report, what are the items in the monthly progress report? What is the purpose of monthly progress report? Like I said, for your own company's sake, it's about verification of accounting, like payment and all that, to your downstream. And then on the upstream side, it will be, backwards to your, it will be backwards to your client. What are the contractual implications? Like, it can be extension of time, it can be payment, it can be additional claims, it can be change order, so these are all together, being seen in what we call the monthly progress report. Okay, and that is like it's always about a system. Now, honestly, we're trying to create, like, learning here. What you're learning here is creating a system for you to do your work with ease. At the end of every month, you can draw your data out easily. Okay, and then maybe some of you will be so smart in the end, you can create some softwares or something like that for this monthly progress reporting, plus the daily records, how to convert daily records into monthly progress report, and then from there do all the summary and all that. I mean, it will be so interesting. I'm pretty sure some of you will be that smart, work with IT people, and you can actually create something like that, and make tons of money selling the program at the end of the day as well. I mean, like, engineering is just not like go to site, design site, design site. There's a lot of side things, a lot of side branches that many of you, like, I would say 30% of you will be going into, like, for example, IBS, for example, beam. I've got students who actually work as beam trainer now, like, so successful as beam trainer, giving a lot of training on beam to different companies and all that. I mean, like, it's so wonderful, you see. So, and then some of you may be into dispute, doing other things rather, like solving dispute and all sort of things, like, or some of you can be safety or quality officer, especially outsourced to, care for certain sites and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, like, project management company and software company, factory manufacturing people like precast, IBS, and all that. They engage a lot of civil engineers as well. Even SEB, they were also like sorry, um, some energy company. A lot of them will actually engage civil engineer as well. Not really exactly electrical people or mechanical people. Yes, they have a lot of that, but then they will also have civil people as well, because you need to build the hardware. Sometimes you need to build the buildings, you need to build the trenches, you need to do the pipelines and all that sort of stuff for the final facilities, and I mean, for the power generation facilities. So not only the softwares but the hardware as well. So I mean, the hardware be usually by civil engineers. So like I said, opportunity, there is a lot. So you don't really have to think about, consultant, or contract developer, government agency. Don't really have to stick to these four major ones, which is like what you say, client side, which is government or government link agency, uh, developers, private client, and then you've got also your consultant, which is in designs, and then also your contractor, which is basically on the construction bit of things. Okay, so like I said, maybe only about 60 to 70% of students will be going to mainstream area, like construction, developer, client, and all that. But there will be about 30% who will be in the sub mainstream, like manufacturing company, precast company. I've got students who are really doing so well in roofing company. They are already promoted to manager, of the company, even like project directors and all that sort of stuff. But they graduated like 20 years ago, lah, huh? Yeah. So you see, they are all his life he's been working. I mean, their life they've been working in that sort of company. So they are not in the mainstream construction. You see. So then you've got precast, IBS, beam, like dispute, QA, QC, safety officers. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of you who will become safety officers as well one day. Maybe two or three or four of you, who gets training in safety officers and doing things like dispute resolution. Like myself, I'm an engineer. I also do a lot of work in dispute resolution as well. So that is also part of a job of a, like a sub branch lah, like a more specialty, subspecialties lah. Huh? Okay, so it's not necessarily always building transport, highway, and all that sort of stuff. Huh? Okay, yeah, so I mean, this is what construction is all about. Huh? There's a lot of opportunities. It's about where you see the opportunities. Some of you may be working on a site, and then you get pinched off to do work by the manufacturer, and some of you may be working in consultant firm, and then you get pinched off to become a site engineer, project manager, and all that. And this is how you get better and better in that sense. So yeah, but this is what the whole industry is all about. Like, this is how we talk about monitoring now. Huh? Okay. So here, site daily record, and then from the database, we talk about the return list. Uh, yeah, I don't know if I have like a progress report. Yeah, I think I will add in something on the monthly progress report lah. I think it's a little bit, it's all here, but then I think I will split up the section a bit more carefully in that sense lah. So that a bit more clearly in that sense. Okay, so far, any questions? Am I talking to myself for the whole afternoon and everybody is sleeping? 41. What happened? Goodness gracious. Oh my gosh. Any questions so far? Anything you want to ask me? Exam tips, I will leave it until Friday and also next week. Next week, remind again, we're going to have a class, even though it's study week, we have something to catch up, okay? Any questions, guys? Oh, you're getting so quiet.
Doctor, manual attendant.
Yeah, I'm doing it now. Not manual, huh? I'm doing the online one first. So far, no questions. Okay, thank you, Anson. Let me get the QR code. Yep, there you go. Go, shoot yourself. This is really the smallest class that I have in the past 20 years. Okay, it's a record low amount of students, and I'm really hoping to have a lot more interaction from you guys. Okay, so you need to wait for a little while for me to post up these notes. I will check through them and then clean it up a little bit. But it will be done before the next class. Don't worry, okay? As usual, once I posted something, I will always inform the class monitor, and the class monitor will inform everybody the notes are up, the recordings are up. Any recording that we do online, it will be posted for those of you who are not attending class. But even if I post the recording and you don't bother to go through it, I also cannot do anything about it, okay? And then some of you come and take attendance and then go, and then thinking that you will have time to check through all the classes punya recording and all that. I hope you do, but then some people just don't, and then in the end they miss out a lot on the classes and just go through the notes as well. I mean, they just go through the notes for exams and then they didn't do well, you see. I mean, like, you need to attend classes, lah, honestly speaking. Okay. Because notes is notes. Notes is really written there, like I cannot put all my thoughts and what I want to say word by word on the notes. It's just impossible, and then sometimes you read the notes, you may not understand, but it's only through coming to classes that you can say, oh, okay, I hear Dr. Ding say this, oh yeah, I heard her story about this, maybe all is related to this, so I can understand better. Like I said, the good way of really trying to get good marks is to do your own notes, no doubt one. For project management, this is how you score. You do your own notes because it's your own understanding, and then you can do your own notes based on the practice class questions that I've given. Have I given you practice class questions? I should have already given you guys. You look at ELIP. Let me check ELIP. There's it should be in the first week or so. I should have given you some practice class question. You can, based on the practice class question, start to do your own notes on how to answer those questions. I think that would be really helpful for you to score as well. Because like normally assignment and test is still not too bad, but project is usually quite bad because project is 25 marks. And it's always at the end of the semester where people are rushing everything at the same time. And then they just could not do a good job for project. And project take up a lot of marks. So in the end, they think that the project can score high, but actually project cannot. because it comes, you know, at the end of the semester, you got this one need to hand in, that one need to hand in, you know, and then you got IDP, you got FYP, you're totally all mark up, you know, and then by the time you get to the project, you just want to hand it in, get it over and done with. So you can't really score good marks. So if you can't score good marks, that means out of the 25%, 15%, 10%, you probably didn't do that well, you know, that you think you should be getting the marks, you know. Maybe some people get 30 out of 40, and that is considered as really good. You know, some people actually get like uh 25, 20, 20 something only out of 40. And then the other 60 still comes from the exams, you see. So, well, you really need to score. You need to pass exam. You cannot depend on your assignment and project and all that just to pass exam. You can't, okay? No, it's 50 marks, 50 marks. Yeah, 50 marks. 25, 15, and 10. So that one is 50 marks already. So 60, the other 50 marks, you need to pass, you know. Many people I see that don't pass exam, they also easily can fail the overall subject one. Okay. I mean, this is my sincere advice, lah, huh? And then I hope that you can really look into answering questions well in exams. That's very important. And I'm available in January. You know, should you need me to help you with your practice class questions, or if you need me to talk to you, I mean, like, do it and then you want to come and show me some of the answer, I'm very happy to, you know, to talk to you. You know, unless sometimes, you know, as usual, like some people come and ask me question that I was almost bang sang on, you know, it's like, huh? You mean like that person did not understand anything at all since the beginning, and that could be frightening me, you know, and I may get into a very big reaction in that sense, and then that may sound like I'm scolding you, but then it's concern. It's actually a very big concern. Okay, so I think many of you do like to talk to me after class. I think that's a good time. But like I said, next week is study week already. We're gonna have a class. Um, I will see if we can do a physical class. Okay, I will see if we can do it. Would you prefer a physical class, or would you just want to go online? Maybe we just do online now, huh? Because I think a lot of you are rushing all the deadlines at that time already, so you may not want to drive or come all the way to uni. Okay, so that's fine. We will do a physical class maybe around 10:30 or 10:30. I will set up the link and we'll try to finish. We will finish the whole syllabus, okay, the rest of the contract management syllabus. But this Friday we will start off with contract management syllabus, and whatever we can't finish, we'll finish it that week. I mean on Monday next week, okay? So remember, Monday next week study week, you still have a class on 12th of January, okay? All right. Anybody needs QR I mean like manual? Anybody needs manual? Just now somebody said it wants manual. Or you're fine already? Anybody wants manual?
It's okay, Doctor. Dah dapat.
Dah dapat, okay. All right, so you got like 26 people missing. I don't know what happened. Okay, so please advise them to go back and go through the recording that I will post up later on on this class.
I need
Class
manual,
monitors?
Doctor.
Huh? Yes?
Can I have the manual attendance?
Who is this?
Hadi.
Hadi, okay. Hadia, if possible, can I see you a bit early on tomorrow?
What time, Doctor?
Would you be able to come around 1 o'clock?
Sure.
Okay, around 1, so we set that time first. Okay, and Mary as well, if you want to see me, we can drop by around 1 o'clock, okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Doctor.
Thank you,
I'll see you
Doctor.
then. Bye-bye. All right, that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.